Hey guys, how's it going? So today I will be showing you how to do a responsive menu just like this one, and you can see you can resize it over here, and once you reach a certain point this hamburger menu here will appear. When we click on it there will be another menu appearing here, and at the back will become blurry, and we can close it. And on a desktop resolution we will have the search bar and the menu list. So I will be showing this to you, and in this tutorial we will be using HTML, CSS and a bit of JavaScript as well, but don't worry, I will keep it as simple as possible. So let's start by opening up our Visual Studio Code, and we'll create a new folder. We'll call it responsive nav. Open it up, and so let's create an index.html. Give it a proper title, so like responsive nav, and we'll give it two separate CSS. So the first one would be reset.css, and I like to use Meyer reset CSS. So come here, copy everything, paste it here, and comment this one out. And then the second one would be called style.css. So you can close this one. So we can link this to CSS, and the order in which we link them is important. So the first one would be reset.css, and the second one would be our style.css. Cool. And then finally we'll need a main.js file, and this one we can link it over here. Alright, so close this one, and first we'll need a header. So header, and inside the header we'll have a nav, and inside the nav we'll have a main div with a class of main menu, and inside that div we'll have three inner div. So the first one would be menu logo, and a href, just call it whatever you want. In my case I'll call it like that. And the second div would be menu search, and in that div we'll have two inputs. So first one will be a search bar. You can give it a placeholder of type ... and another input which will be a button, and we'll give it a value of search, just like that. And one more div for our links. So we'll have a list inside, li, a href, and we'll call it home. So let's have three more. So let's this one be called store, about and contact. Great. So the next one will have main content, and first we'll have a main div called, can call it middle container, and inside that we'll have two inner divs. So they will be called main content, and as I said, two of them, and in each one we'll have an h1. So we can say, let's talk about your project, and the other one, let's get in touch. It's just random, just to generate some content. And so let's go in our style. We'll say general. So for our body, we'll give it a black background with a font family of this one, and a color of white. There we go. So next up, we want our nav here to display horizontally instead of vertically, and in order to do that we will be using display grid. So header, and if we remember correctly, all of this here is inside this main div here called main menu. So let's target this one. So main menu, display grid, and in order to do it for horizontally with two columns, we will say grid template columns. So one fractional unit, one more, and one more. There we go. So what's happening here is, maybe if we put a border, you can get a better idea of what's going on. So we'll target the main divs only, not all the divs. So border 1 pixel solid white. So you can see over here there's 3 fractional units in total, and each one get an equal amount in width. And if we put here 10, so 10 out of 12 fractional units for the logo, that's why it has a larger width over here. Good. So let's style the logo now. So menu, logo, we say display flex and align content center, and then we'll say menu logo A, we'll give it a color of white, a font size of 20 pixel. Let's remove this underline. Text decoration none. What else? So font weight bold. Maybe we can further style this, so we can say span, and here we'll say menu logo A span. Let's make the font weight thin, and let's change the color to gray, maybe a lighter gray. There we go. So that's it for the logo. What else? For the search bar, so we say menu search, And we can say display flex as well. Align items center. And then I want to give the search bars and the button some round corners. So to do that, we can say menu search. Remember, there's two inputs in the search div. So input 1, input 2. And so we'll say input first child to target the first input. We say border 1 pixel, solid white, and we'll give it a border radius of 5 pixels. But we don't want it on the right side, we only want it on the left side. So what we'll do is we'll say 5 pixel, 0, 0, and 5 again. There we go. And we'll do the same thing for the second input, but instead we'll call this last child, and we'll do the opposite over here. 0. And there we go. And let's give this a background color of black and a font color of white. There we go. And I want to give the search bar a bit of margin in between. So margin 0 for top and bottom, and 20 pixels for each side, just like that. And what else? And we can give it a pointer as well. Should be on this input here, just like that. And for the last one, so we'll say menu list UL display flex, and for the whole thing we can give it a height of 7 VH, so it's 7 out of 100% of whatever height we are seeing over here. And let's center this out. So we'll have to give it a height of 7, align items center. And so let's change the link colors as well. So menu list ULLIA color of white, text decoration none, and maybe give a bit of gap in between. So let's put 10 pixels of gap here. Great. And maybe because we are on the home page, we want the home link underlined. So to do that, come here, give this a class of active. You can call it whatever you want really. So menu list ULLIA.active, text decoration underline. Good. And next up, let's style this H1 over here. So go here, main content, and what do we have? So we've got middle container and main content. So let's style these two here, main content. So we'll say main content, we'll give it a height of 100, like that, a width of 100%, and we want to center everything out. So display flex, justify content center, align items center. And for the h1, we'll say main content h1, font size 3 rem, like that. And when we scroll, we don't want the bar here to disappear. So, and remember, everything is inside this nav here. So what we'll do is we'll target this nav. We say nav position of fix, and now it sticks to the top. And maybe we can give it a blurry background as well. So backdrop filter, blur 10 pixel, just like that. So what else? So we want to give a bit of margin on both sides here. So we'll say container margin 0 pixel, 20 pixel, and we give this a class of container, as well as the main container. Good. So now when we resize the browser, we want the list and the search bar to disappear and a hamburger menu to appear. And in order to do that, first we'll have to create the hamburger menu. So we'll come here, and still inside the main menu, over here we'll say hamburger menu. So we'll create a div with a class of hamburger menu, and inside we'll have another div called hamburger content, and inside we'll have 3 more divs with a class of bar. So dot bar times 3, just like that. And we can come over here, call it hamburger menu, and then we'll have to style the bars. So we say dot bar, give it a color of white, we'll give it a height of 3 pixel, width of 20 pixel. You can see it appears over here, and we'll give it a margin of, actually a margin bottom of 5 pixel, and we'll have to remove the last margin bottom. So we say dot bar last child, margin bottom 0 pixel, and there we go. So it appears over here because remember we only referred for 2 columns over here, but if let's say we were to add another one, it would automatically come over here. But we don't need to do that because we will be removing these 2 anyway. So remove this, and we will be using media queries in order to manipulate the elements here. So come here, media queries. So we say at media max width of 750 pixel. So okay, I'll explain what's happening here. So from 0 pixel to 750 pixel max width, whatever we write here will be happening, and once it goes to 751 pixel, it won't happen anymore. So we can say menu list and menu search will have a display of none. So let's resize the browser, and it works. But the problem is we'll have to readjust the grid template columns. So let's copy this, paste it here, and we remove one here because we only need one column. Give this a fractional units of 100, and this fixes a problem. And also we have to remove this here by default, so look for the hamburger menu again. Okay, so what would be this one here, hamburger content. So write hamburger content. It will have a display of none. And then here it will have a display of flex. But we still have to readjust the flex, so we say flex direction column. Let's give it a height of 7. There we go. Also maybe give it a pointer. I think there's an issue here, so just to see it properly, we don't want to target everything here. So what we'll do, let's remove this height here. Sorry guys, and go back up. We'll say align items center. Just like that. And we can comment this one out and this one as well. And everything looks to be working properly for now. We can center this H1 here as well, so we say text align center. And what else? Yeah, so on bigger screen this will have some issue over here, so we can say 100 instead of 10. Great. So we want to click on this and another menu will appear, so we'll have to create that separate menu. So we'll come here and outside the menu, the main menu div, we'll say sub nav. Let's create a div with a class of subnav, and inside that we'll have another list, so LIA, same thing as the last one, home, and here we say store, about, and contact. can see it over here. Scroll down. Subnav, and we'll target the subnav here, and we say position of absolute, and we'll give it a height of max 100, VW, and we want to center it as well. So display flex, justify content, center, align items, center. There we go. And just for now, we'll give it a background so we can see much properly. This here, and we don't want this black space over here, so what we'll do, we say top 0 and give it a Z index of 1 so that these guys here can come out on the front. And let's style these links as well. So we say subnav A, actually ULLIA of white, font size free REM, can give it a font weight of bold, give it a bit of gap as well. So subnav ULLI margin, just like that. Remove the text decoration as well. Great. Maybe that's much better. So we can come here and write right minus 100 pixel, and you can see this will move 100 pixel to the right. If you say to 300, it will move 300 pixel to the right. So let's write 2000 and move it completely out of the way, and we'll say nav subnav active. This doesn't exist. This active clause doesn't exist yet, but we will be applying that in the JavaScript file. So we'll say right 0 pixel. So what's happening is when we click on this button, subnav div here will be getting a class of active, and in that active class the right will be 0 pixel, if that makes sense. And we can also say opacity 0, and then the opacity will be 1. So let's do the JavaScript now. And if you're not very familiar with JavaScript, everything we want to interact with, we'll have to put in a variable. So we want to, this here is a hamburger menu. We want to interact with this. So we say const button, you can name it whatever you want, document query selector. So we will select the hamburger content. And so we will have to give it an event listener of click. So we will say button.add event listener bracket click, and inside we'll put a function, an arrow function, So when we click on this button, whatever we write here will happen. So let's test it out first. We'll say alert works. So let's click and it works. So we can delete that. And remember, when we click, we will give the subnav a class of active. So come back here, we'll say, so we still have to create another variable for subnav, because we are interacting with it. So we say create selector and target nav. So we are targeting this whole thing here. So we'll say subnav, we will be adding a class of active. So add of active. And we don't need to put the point here because we are already referencing it as classList over here. So let's see if this works. And it works, but the problem is when we click it again, it doesn't go away. So instead of add, we can say toggle, and it works. Good. And so instead of this background here, when this nav here appear, we want everything at the back to become blurry and maybe less opacity. So let's come here to our main content, and we will be targeting this middle content here because it contains everything. So we'll say middle container. We'll say filter blur pixel, and you can see it's working already. We can say opacity 0.2, but we don't want it to happen just yet. So just like the subnav, we will be giving it a class of active when we click on this button here. So we will say, and we still have to create another variable. So we'll say middle container, create selector dot, and we will target this middle container here. And same thing again. So middle container dot classList toggle, give it a class of active. Just like that. And the problem is when we click it here, it works, but we can't click it back. So what we do is we give nav a z index of 100 to make it appear on top, and now it's working properly. Good. We can give them a bit of transition as well to make it look much better. So for the subnav, we can say transition all 0.2 second and ease in and out. So when we click here, this looks much better. And we can do the same thing for the middle container as well. So we'll say middle container, transition, all, and same thing. And there we go. And I think there should be some issues. So when we click here and we try to resize it, the problem is these guys here will stay. So we can remedy that problem by going here, and we can say, we can come to the subnav, and by default we can say none, and go to media queries and say subnav display of flex. And same goes for the middle container, but instead we can just cut this and paste it in the media query. And just like that. Yeah, so give us a percentage of 100 instead. So it doesn't refer to the whole browser, but to whatever content there is. So 100%. So let's see if it's working properly. Let's resize this here. Good. So the last thing we need to do, we have to animate these bars here. So to do that, we will have to go to the hamburger content, and we'll say hamburger content dot active, because we are trying to add a class of active to the hamburger content when we click it. And we will be manipulating the bars. So dot bar, for the first bar it will be nth child number 1. And just to test it out, let's give it a background of red. So we'll come here, and this time we don't have to create another variable because we are already targeting it over here. So we'll say button dot classList dot toggle with a class of active. Hopefully that works, and it does. But we don't want the background color to be red, so what we'll do is we'll say transform and translate Y 8 pixel, and we say rotate 45 degrees, and it works. And we'll do it for the other two. So we say 1, 2, and 3, just like that. This one will be disappearing, so we'll say opacity 0. And this one we can just inverse it. There we go. And maybe the bars, we can give it a bit of border radius as well. It's up to you. Like that. And I believe if we want a transition to it, so we come here, we say transition all to 0.2 seconds, is in and out. And there we go. So, and there we go, guys. So just try it out. It's not as easy as it seems to be, but I'm sure you will learn a few things in this tutorial. So just try it out, and if you can't get it the first time, try the tutorial a few times. And if you like the content, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for new content. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.